So Bernie Sanders. Apparently, he's got some choice words for his good friend Joe Biden and the Hunter Biden pardon. The Hunter Biden pardon. Okay, now look, Biden has gone on record saying that he was not going to pardon his son. He was going to get involved in it. And look, what parent doesn't care about their kid? But see, the thing is, folks, it was another gut check to the Democrats as they keep on imploding. Okay. Now, I wasn't expecting the Democrats to implode as much as they have, especially after November 5th. But yet here we are. I mean, already you're seeing the leadership and even its quote unquote new leadership really question their overall future and stability. I mean, their great voting blocks that they once relied on so much are crumbling and falling apart right before our very eyes. We're seeing how New York City mayor is openly embracing Trump's new administration. And also here in Chicago, you have Mayor Brandon Johnson, who, by the way, folks, listen, please, in the comment section or in this live stream, put some dragon emojis in the chat, because thank goodness for homeowners. And I think there should be a loud applause everywhere. Homeowners, good news, Democrats. Mayor Brandon Johnson's budget proposal to raise property tax hike has been dismissed. It's not in the budget, so we don't have to worry about a property tax increase. We're going to be okay, at least for the time being. So no one needs to crap their pants. Not yet, anyways, okay? So there you go. But the fallout of the Democrats is ongoing and continuous, and now it seems maybe Bernie Sanders has found his spine. Where was it at this whole time? I don't know, but please, everyone, as I play this video here, and again, huge shout out to everybody that's supporting us. Bernie, where was this 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Where was this? Why now? Why now? Again, shout out to Hotspot for getting this clip.
Let me ask you about President Biden's pardon of his son, Hunter. Former Biden senior advisor Anita Dunn said she agrees with the decision to pardon them. She disagrees with how it was carried out, the criticism of the Justice Department. And I want to remind you of what we heard from President Biden himself on this topic earlier this year. Take a look.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes. I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Senator, was it the right decision for the country to pardon Hunter Biden?
Well, I think two things. When you have his opponents going after his family, as a father, as a parent, I think we can all understand Biden trying to protect his son and his family. On the other hand, I think the precedent being set is kind of a dangerous one. It was a very wide open pardon, which could, under different circumstances, lead to problems in terms of future presidents.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yes, that's all you said. That's all you said. But see, Bernie, the bigger issue is you vouched for your good friend Joe. I mean, by a lot. Okay. I remember the 2020 election cycle. And then I remember as soon as Biden made his announcement that he was going to run again, you, AOC, and the other progressive heavyweights in the Democrat Party went to support and endorse him. And even as this situation with Hunter Biden was intensifying, no one was seeing really, well, what would happen, let's say, if Biden had to drop out of the race? What would happen if the Democrats were to lose? What would happen to Hunter Biden's case? Because let's face it, folks, Biden only has just a few more days as president. Well, technically a few more weeks, because let's see, not including this week, we have 1, 2, 3. Hold on. 4 weeks, possibly. Yes, I believe that's correct. Until January 20th. Until January 20th. And in that time frame, you know, Biden being president, he does have powers and privileges the rest of us don't have. The fact that you think he wouldn't try and protect his son is, well, I think everyone would think, well, that's foolish. But see, the thing is now the Democrats have opened themselves up to be ridiculed, to be called out, and once again, shakes the very foundation of any faith that people had in the Democrat Party. I want to pull up this other video here because now people are commenting about Bernie Sanders even calling out his good friend Joe Biden.
Senator Bernie Sanders today responded to reports that President Biden may be considering preemptive pardons for members of Congress who investigated the January 6th attack following recent concerning comments by Donald Trump.
In light of what the president-elect said to me, that yes, he does think that members of the January 6th committee should go to jail, do you think that Mr. Biden should issue preemptive pardons for the entire January 6th committee?
Well, I think he might want to consider that very seriously. Look, that is an outrageous statement. This is what authoritarianism is all about. It's what dictatorship is all about. You do not arrest elected officials who disagree with you, who
That's very true. But also what you don't do, okay, is also use your power to try and prevent people from being on the ballot, being on the debate stage, all right? I'm going to bring up third parties here for a second because the Greens and Libertarians and even RFK Jr. and Cornel West, each of them in their own right had to face off against challenges from the Democrats from, again, being prohibited from being on the ballot, being on a debate stage. But see, that happens to third parties all the time in different states, whether they're running for county, city, state, or even federal elections. And Harlan's Media, we've interviewed our fair share of third-party candidates, independents. We've done so. That's our record, folks. That's the record. That's the record. That is the record. We have interviewed third parties and independents, and their stories are all shockingly the same. But then also, don't forget for a fact that there was also a movement trying to prevent Donald Trump from being on the ballot. And also that there was a lot of legal lawfare in which Donald Trump had to go on the defense. Seemed to me, hey, Bernie, it's a pot calling the kettle black here, man.
undertake an investigation.
Joining me now is Shaniqua McClendon, Vice President of Political Strategy at Crooked Media, along with former Florida Representative and MSNBC political analyst Carlos Curbelo. Welcome to you both. Bernie Sanders makes a pretty strong case there, Shaniqua.
Hold on, Mastermind Hour. Folks, I want everyone to give thumbs up to Mastermind Hour. Thank you. Shout out to one of our moderators here. You can't lock up people that disagree with you, but it's fine to deny them health care. Richest country in the world ever. Mandatory thumbs up for Mastermind.
Should Biden issue these preemptive pardons? Do you think he'll do it?
Yeah, not only is it smart, it's absolutely necessary. Donald Trump has not minced words about what he wants to do. And I think anyone who's pretending that Trump's second term will be one of civility and level-headedness is just being dishonest with themselves and whoever that they're trying to convince of that. I also think generally, Democrats need to get more comfortable with power and using power. And President Biden has an opportunity now to set an example for Democrats across the country at every level of government to use every bit of power they have to make sure that Donald Trump and all these billionaire friends that he's brought, into his administration directly or indirectly, to make sure that they don't make this country worse than it was. And the last thing I'll say is, a lot of the pushback on President Biden even issuing these pardons is, that Donald Trump might take his cues from him. Donald Trump doesn't take cues from Democrats, and we have to stop making decisions based on how Republicans might respond to us.
Interesting point there.
Yes, interesting point there. But last I checked, wasn't there a whole bunch of attempts to try and go after Donald Trump? I mean, look. Everyone's surprised at the words and actions of Donald Trump, but I think here's the thing, because even in 2016, even I fell victim to that. Okay, like, oh my God, I can't believe Trump said this and Trump said that. But then I think I remember the wise words of a couple of my family members, including my grandpa, said, "Oh, Trump's always been this way." I thought about it for a second, like, yeah, you're right. He's always been this way. And the thing is, if you're going to be vindictive towards Trump, well, color me shocked. You didn't think he was going to be doing the same thing to you too? You didn't think he was going to enact any kind of legal lawfare back, the Uno reverse card? I mean, that was going to happen. And his whole thing was pardoning Hunter Biden. I don't want to hear anybody saying, oh, well, Trump's corrupt, and everything else. Well, gee, Biden did the same thing too. He should not have done that. He should not have gotten involved, but he did. And I can understand being a parent, him being a parent, my goodness. You got to, family has to look out for family, right? But now the whole world sees that Biden was just being a hypocrite and a liar. And Bernie, you wasted your political career, your good points and your good graces with your supporters, a lot of your diehard supporters, when you went all into bat for Biden. Not once did you get anything in return by giving up and surrendering to Joe Biden. Not once did you get anything back. Not once. If you're going to be speaking out now A lot of people are going to be saying this, Bernie. Where were you a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago? Where was that fire then? Is it safe to talk now? I guess it truly is, because now that the orange boogeyman's back in the White House. But Democrats, that lightning in the bottle moment from 2016 is gone, never to return.
If you fool me once, it's because I didn't think a guard was needed. If you fool me twice, it's because I didn't learn the lesson, so it bears repeating. If you try the same play 3 times running, it's because you know what's coming, and you didn't come to lead, you came to purposefully be misleading. Democracy is dry, it's been a century bleeding. The husk is gaping open to the sky, out in the field where all the sheep just keep on circling and worrying and bleeding. They're waiting for the shepherd that they've tried to hide their faith in, but he's so appealing. They'd gladly give their fleece. It's such a freeing feeling that even when he leads them to the ledge and starts to urge them on, they're positively beaming. They were told that they were on their way to save democracy, so even as they plummet, they just gloat. They don't consider screaming. And halfway up the cliff, the shepherd's cozy little mittens wrap around the staff of shattered human hopes on which he's leaning. He shows the gentle grin that used to stir your inner spark, and he says, "Not me, us," as he gestures to the oligarchs. He knows that if he runs, they're going to stop him like a stolen car. And he'll easily surrender because it bought a lot of time for laying mines in all the grassroots. Suddenly, the tiniest of movements gets you blown apart. Suddenly, you're in a play that's set on an election day and voting for the fire, unaware you're playing Joan of Arc. Suddenly, the shepherd pulls the rug and slips a hood across your clueless mug, and everything goes zero dark. I'm gonna warn you once more before it's 2024 and you fuck around and find out who your heroes are. To take a step back from the herd, and you'll learn that you can spot who all the shearers are. If you really want to know the product that they're selling, I can take you where the mirrors are. If you think your voice is finally ready, I can tell you where the lyrics are. I hid them in a box I had to bury neath the cobble when they carpet bombed the promenade and raided all the street bazaars. Now all we've got's the marketplace, and you're too broke to even bother asking what the options for your treatment are. Suddenly, the raw debris of homeless human dignity will find it has 100 teeth for every badge and sweeper's arm. Suddenly, they speak in solidarity and each is armed. Suddenly, the sheep can see the shepherd for his truest form and all pitch in at once to help him buy the farm. And now it's zero dark, and all is calm and peaceful save the distant wail of sirens that approach beside the flames of dawn. Suddenly, the carrot's just a string that's on a stick, and all your movements make you sick because the prize is gone. Now, we could go and flee into the forest low and meek, or we can exercise our right to feast and go and graze on Biden's lawn. Because he's been sowing seeds that seep a toxin out to sap a bit from each of us and keep on leaching decades after Biden's gone. So regardless who they summon out of hell to come and do the job, it will not feel like Biden's gone. But in that time of hopelessness, you cannot trust the shepherd when he once again comes asking you to humor him his siren song. And it's cute that you can innocently, honestly assume that's just a symptom of a system that was wired wrong, and not the standard feature, basic function, primary objective of a mass hypnosis firebomb. You don't need to know the words to cry along. Someday it'll hit you like an officer who pistol whipped their ride along. Broke his jaw and kept his job and kept it moving right along. That voting isn't red or blue or black or white or right or wrong. Voting's like a firing squad where you can choose the firearm. It's slow extinction by and large. It's Super Tuesday supercharged. It's all your futures, roots and all, just tossed out on a garbage barge. It's everybody dropping out to push the biggest oligarch. It's everybody voting fire, registered as Joan of Arc.